Hello, welcome to the Retro Game Club podcast, Season 8, Episode 2, which is also Episode 213. I am Rob, and joining me is someone blasting out of retirement, Hugh.
Oh, come on. I told you I would do one guest appearance a year, and you're using it up in January.
Yeah, yep. Well, I go by the lunar calendar, so I don't know if that changes anything.
Wait. Oh, no, I'm confused now.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just know the year of the horse is about to start. That's all I know. What have you been up to? I was going to use our topic to be, does Hugh have anything he's working on? But we could talk about that now. You have anything cool happening?
No, I don't have anything cool happening. I do have, what's funny? I was going to send this in to this show as a question for listeners, but I'll just ask this. So let's say you're making a game that you are not ever going to charge money for, right? It's a demo you are making for free, either to just because you want to, or I don't know why you don't want to charge money for it. I'm the one making it, and I don't know why I don't want to charge money for it.
Yeah.
But the point is, I don't want to charge money for it. What's the ethics of using AI to create art for something you will never ask money for?
I think there are no ethics. I think it's totally fine. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, I could pay someone to make art, or I have paid for tile sets before. But there's this idea I have that I've been working on. It's just the graphics are too complex, and the thing I'm trying to create just doesn't look right with any of the licensed tile sets I saw. So I'm like, I can go into Gemini and describe a scene and even try and tell it to limit itself to a color palette for a particular system, which it kind of doesn't do very well. And I'm like, well, yeah, I could use this. I'm not charging money, so who cares? That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think for me, an AI, if it's something that you weren't going to pay money for anyway, for my personal standing is, I think it's fine. I do not like AI slop, but you aren't making AI slop. You're incorporating a few little tiles or whatever, in your own code. But I understand why people would not like that. So I see both sides.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I can understand both sides of the argument. And I guess I'm curious what other people listening to this podcast would do.
There was something I wanted to ask you about, even though we talked about it over email, I think the listeners would like, and that would be your video game store trip and a picture you put on your website about a funny controller.
Yeah, well, this was not a video game store trip. I was just out doing some shopping with my wife. We were actually looking for a completely different store. And I saw a bunch of signs that said estate sale. So I'm like, gonna go check that out. And it was not an estate sale. It was deceptive. It was a store from this guy that buys abandoned estates. So imagine someone dies and they don't have relatives, or the relatives don't want to deal with their junk. So the bank, assuming that this dead person has a mortgage, the bank calls up someone like the guy that runs the store, and he takes all the stuff out of the house on like some kind of weird consignment deal with the bank that he explained, because he explained he has to pay the bank back some amount of money of the things he sells. So whatever. It's some system. And this store was crazy. I mean, it was this kind of thing where like you could name an object and he would be like, oh yeah, shelf 8 in the back room, 3 inches across. Like he could just say, like, had the layout of this place memorized. While I was there, someone came in to ask for a harpoon, and he was able to help with that, for example. I don't know why someone has a harpoon to begin with, but while I was there, he had a lot of video games, but it was mostly common stuff. So I didn't buy much because maybe the rare games already got sold, or I don't know. I can imagine that like if you owned a bunch of like rare video games or stuff worth like tens of thousands of dollars, and then you died, you would have a relative that would show up to claim it. You know, someone would show up.
Yeah.
But one of the craziest things I saw, so I'll preface it by saying there were other flight stick controllers. There were two other flight stick controllers at this thing. And then someone that homemade a flight stick controller, and I'm not going to describe this well, but it was two NES Advantages, like nailed to a board, that then were wired into this little silver box. And out of that box came a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 controller cable. And they had in marker written down on the right joystick the PlayStation buttons, triangle, square, circle, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the A and B buttons were like L1 and L2 and R1 and R2. I'm guessing it had to be PlayStation 1 because this could only work for analog controls. So it looks like someone made a custom dual stick for their PlayStation 1. And the PlayStation 1 doesn't have like Robotron or Smash TV. I mean, it probably has them on a collection.
Yeah.
This looked more like it was made for a tank or flying game.
Yeah, maybe like a Mech Warrior type thing.
Yeah, something like that, probably.
Interesting. So you did not bring this home with you?
No, because it's huge. I mean, it's two NES Advantages wide. It's giant. I did look around. I even went on Reddit. I don't, that's how desperate I was.
Mm-hmm.
I went on Reddit even to see if anybody had, like, if there was an instruction on how to make this. Like, did this guy find a web page? How did he come up with it?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. This is a totally home mod. And I guess if you want it, you can email. I can give you the address of the place if I remember where it is. Was it in Arlington Heights? It was around Arlington Heights area.
Okay.
Somewhere out there. We were going somewhere else and we ended up by Woodfield. I don't know how that happened, but that's where we were. But that's been my first game shopping experience this year, and I wasn't even trying.
And this marks how many years of your good video game store finds series on your site?
This is the 20th year that I have kept up a column about stuff that I find at garage sales or estate sales.
So that column is officially retro.
It's officially retro. First year I posted was 2006, where, you could find consoles for $1 still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was the golden era, right around there.
Yeah. It was, it really was. And like, 2008, 2009 were probably the best years I had for video game finds. And it kind of declined after that. And obviously like 2020, there weren't, was it 2020? Yeah, 2020, whenever COVID was, obviously I didn't find anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then past couple of years, I've been more about cataloging bizarre or overpriced items that I see. People who have some, they have a copy of Super Mario Brothers and think it's worth $100, stuff like that. I did for last year put a big section about shopping for video games in Japan based on my experiences there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of fun. In hindsight, I should have brought like another suitcase because with the exchange rate, game prices are just absurdly cheap there.
And also, we just ran into this. We had friends come from Detroit to visit us in Sydney, and we were not thinking straight. And we were like, just leave your souvenirs here, and we'll just ship them to you. Like you do. Like I know a bunch of people do that in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and we forgot about tariffs.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, you're better off like making friends with someone in Canada and then smuggling them across the border.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that option is kind of not happening right now.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. If it comes back in your suitcase, I mean technically when you go to the desk in America, they ask what you brought back, and I mean if you're not planning to resell anything, I think you just say I brought back a bunch of souvenirs. I mean we didn't bring stuff back from Japan for the purpose of reselling it. So
Yeah. What other than the current Game Club games what have you been playing?
Retro-wise, what have I been playing? It's here on my desk. So my wife got me this gizmo for Christmas. It's the Atari 50 My Arcade cabinet.
Oh, neat. I haven't seen one of those things in person.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I mostly play adventure on it. It's got I don't think it has, I mean, it's from the Atari 50 collection. It's not every game from the Atari 50 collection, but it's kind of like greatest hits of the Atari 2600.
That reminds me, I just got the latest DLC. I forget if I pre-ordered or if it's available or not, but of Atari 50. I have to check that out. I heard there's a lot more video footage in that.
Yeah. I mean, I got like there's a year's worth of games here, so I'm not going to go over all of them. But I got like the Mortal Kombat collection and Television Sprint, probably some other stuff. Bought a lot of PSP games in Japan because they're like $1 a piece there.
We were gonna email in a review of Sprint. Do you think you're getting close to have played that enough, or?
Actually, you know what? I did post something on my website. I'll have to send you that link.
Okay.
It's part of a larger article I have on the Intellivision. Just sort of the good and bad of. I mean, overall, I think the Sprint's a pretty cool system. Whenever I can figure out how to run homebrew games on it, I will do that.
I was surprised that they didn't launch it with a being able to play carts. That seems like a big mess.
It does, yeah, because I own a ton of Intellivision carts, but I'm just kind of thinking like maybe they just figured there aren't enough of them out in the wild compared to the 2600.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, anything else you want to touch on?
No, that's the big stuff. How about you? What have you been up to?
I should say, yep, Zach, we're missing you right now. He was just too busy this week. Likely just playing Wind Waker on his Switch. So
yeah,
that's been his job lately. But let's see. I wanted to touch on how our last episode was the Power of Choice video. And I went back and watched a few more of those. So apparently those videos, that was like a series they would send out to stores. And wow, when you get to the 1993 holiday Power of Choice, they really got extreme. They really got 90s in your face extreme, not the mom and pop stuff that we saw in the one that we covered. Well, it's almost jarring how different it is. And let's see, I've been playing Terminator 2 No Fate. Do you know this game?
No, is that the pixel art style game?
Yep.
No.
I picked it up on Switch. Let's see, I got it right here. Nice little box here that has great artwork. So yeah, like you said, this is the pixel art side-scrolling Terminator 2 game. The subtitle No Fate is something one of them was carving into a bench in the movie. But it's like Contra meets Double Dragon with the best real pixel art you've ever seen. This game feels great. This game's not very long. And I feel like it has a Metroid style, like the Metroid series, you know what I mean, style difficulty, where the boss might be hard the first time, but the second time you barely get through. The third time you just walk over them, which I like. Yeah. I think that's the perfect balance. I would recommend this game to anyone. If you like modern games, retro games, even if you don't like Terminator, this is a fantastic game. So probably my game of 2025. I bought it in 2025, but I played it in 2026. So play this game. And I just have Rob's predictions for 2026. Some of these are jokes, some of these are not. I always got to put some of those in. Since it's Zelda's 40th anniversary, I don't think they're going to have a big like 3D reboot this year. I think they'll wait. Oh, sorry, it's the Zelda's 35th anniversary. I think they're going to wait till the 40th to do like Ocarina of Time remake and stuff like that. But I do think we'll get like a Minish Cap or something. Remake or remaster. Okay. Possibly Analog will release a Sega CD type FPGA. Mm-hmm.
Could they just do a firmware update for the PC Engine Duo? I mean, I don't think they would,
No,
but in
they
theory,
absolutely could do that, but they won't.
yeah.
Yeah. They've been getting a lot of hate lately, which I've kind of piled on to that also. They like almost do a good job with everything. Like I like their products, but they don't like support them enough. And also they tend to, so it's the guy named Smoke Monster, and that's not like a weed reference. That's Lost, the TV series reference. He is the one that on GitHub releases the jailbroken firmware. And from what I've heard, he just gets it from Analog. Like they just give it to him to release. And
Okay.
then Analog updates their firmware with a bunch of great quality of life or bug fixes. And then they never give it to him again. So you could either play the old garbage firmware that's jailbroken or the new firmware that's not. You know, that's not very nice.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Yeah. The only hate I saw for Analog was something about they launched their Nintendo 64 clone, took
Yeah.
a bunch of pre-orders, and then after all the pre-orders said, "Oh, by the way, we're making it in more colors too."
The day
And
the
people who
pre-orders
got it
arrived. Yep. The day the pre-orders
Yeah.
arrived, you could get the clear ones. Yep. Not cool.
Yeah, which
They did that with the
yeah,
Pocket too.
okay. So are they trying to get you to buy two of them? Is that what they're doing?
I think so. I don't know. I mean, that's the only reason I could think of, because it's not like, you know, RAM prices. There could be RAM shortages. There could be CPU shortages. There's not transparent plastic shortages. You know what I mean?
No. No, maybe in 1991 when they used it on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's tough because their products are really, really good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess no company's perfect. I'll just leave it at that. Overall, I think their products are excellent. I have the Analog Pocket here on my desk, and I fire it up, pretty often.
Yeah, I love that. I do want them to release an Analog Pocket, like XL, Pro, whatever they would call it, and have it be a more Steam Deck feel and size of screen, so my old man eyes can actually see it better. I would love that. I would buy that, but I don't think they'll release that. And also, I mean, Analog, like the CEO, I think his name's Chris. I don't know his last name. He's not really on social media and stuff like that, which I appreciate. You know, like to me, Analog is a good company. I have no idea if he's like a Klansman or something. I'd rather just not know someone's personal stuff and ruin it for me. But yeah, sorry about that. So still with Rob's predictions,
Okay.
the Switch 2 will still not be worth its cost, specifically with Switch 2 exclusives. So, yeah. Like the Switch 2 is a fantastic, beautiful machine. I love the Joy-Cons. I love everything about it, other than I really have no reason to own one. And I think the NES, we'll call it 8-bit and 16-bit console prices, will have kind of peaked by then. Anyone that bought something, whether they aged into it or they COVID-19 paymented into it, I think that's all done. So yeah, those are my predictions. So we will see. Shall we do some news?
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah,
I
you
didn't
haven't
read
done
any of
news in a
these,
year.
So yeah. No. I did not, and I looked at none of these. So
I'll read them off. So there's this company called Epilogue that just released something called the SN Operator, and this is a USB connected Super Nintendo cart adapter for your computer, and it says you could play your games, you could back up your games, you could back up your saves, which is nice. This is a really cool product. It's $60. That's not a bad price. It looks like $10 of parts, but still not a bad price. My question on this is, USB, I don't think would be fast enough, especially with like the translating overhead of reading straight off the cart. So I wonder if you load the game, does it just load into memory and you're not actually playing it off the cart? I don't know.
I don't know.
But that seems right,
I mean, that's
right?
how. I mean, that's how. Like again, going back to analog. I don't think they're reading the card. I think they load the card. I know, like the Atari 7800 Plus loads the card.
I'm 99% sure. Listeners, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm 99% sure they actually they're reading the card. I think it doesn't go through that bus. I think it's kind of like the pins at the top of the Raspberry Pi. What are those called? I think it's
The
that kind of
pins, yeah.
situation where it's like a direct connection. While saying that, I forgot all technical lingo, so I know I sounded a bit dumb there, but trust me, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But if anyone knows for sure, please email us. What else here? One of my favorite things of the episode is something called shader beam. So what this is a shader for your emulator, and you need like a 120 to 480 hertz display. And, old shaders, they would give you like the blurring, the scan lines, all that stuff. This actually recreates the electron beam. And that's why it needs a really fast display, but it looks amazing. This is an amazing product. I really think if you're into emulating, if you're into CRTs, check this thing out. This is pretty amazing. Really, really cool programming. I do not have a display that will that it'll work on.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. The hero, the coolest person in the world that translated East 4, released his thing on GitHub called TurboRip. And it is his app to properly rip and back up your PC Engine and TurboGrafx 16 CD games.
Mm-hmm. Which of course you need to use to apply the East 4 patch, because you need to first obtain a copy of the Japanese CD, which used to be really cheap. It's probably not cheap anymore, but back when TurboRip and this translation were created, they were, I don't know, $9 on eBay. And yeah, it rips it. It has like a built-in database of games, so it knows what game you're ripping. And then from that you can use it to do English patches or whatever. I guess you could just swap the music out to a TurboGrafx game if you wanted to.
Yeah, this person, Nightwolf75, is a hero. Yeah, just very cool stuff he's doing. So check that out. And also, I think it was the last episode that we actually had news. I talked about how Emerald Dragon was just translated English. So this could be something you could use that for, because that is a very cool game. Have you ever played Emerald Dragon?
I have, but it was such a long time ago.
It's really strange in a cool way. It has a bump mechanic, but in a Mario versus Rabbids type gameplay, where you have like a certain like tactical gameplay, but it's a bump mechanic. It's really neat. If anyone likes RPGs, JRPGs that sound like that, check it out. It's very, very well done. Oh, let's see. Zach posted this one. Tetris in a single line of code. And this is just exactly what I said. It's 257 bytes in BBC Basic, and it has the bare minimum of Tetris, and it really does. I mean, you could move the shapes down, you can rotate them, and it does everything Tetris needs to do. Very impressive.
Yeah, is this from a competition? Because I could swear there's like a single line of basic competition that I've seen before.
Yeah, we reported on that a few times, but I don't think I'm rereading this right now. I don't think this was part of a competition. I think this person was just to do it.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
If you wanted to recreate this exact version of Tetris in Node.js, how many lines would it take?
It would be 30 libraries, each
Mhm,
megabytes in size, all very vulnerable to hacking.
mhm.
And then probably 2 to 5 pages of just JavaScript. Well, TypeScript to JavaScript.
Yeah.
And then a lot of CSS. A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking at least 7 or 8 CSS files, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
30 libraries might not be enough because
for some reason you would need React for reasons.
you would have, yes. Yeah.
Yep. And your computer would, your fans would spin up and all that stuff. I'm glad you hate JavaScript as much as I do.
Yeah. No, I really, yeah. If you work in software, Node.js is a bit of a, I don't work on any Node.js applications, but what I do work on is, you have tools that scan all your code and your libraries and check against vulnerability databases, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the time, I'm sure you've had JavaScript files that get flagged with like a 9.9 CVE. That's like the highest you can have.
Yeah.
And you're like, how can this thing running in the person's browser have a 9.9 CVE? And then you look it up and you're like, oh, if you're running Node.js, then your Node.js environment can be compromised. But if you are not running Node.js, then just ignore this.
Yeah. I never use Node for anything ever. I mean, other than like VS Code, which is just because I have to. Next item is from timeextension.com. And this is an interview with Sega's Yosuke Okunari, who was the, I think, director and producer this was like his first video game gig at that title for the Sega Ages series. And the first one was Space Harrier. And he was just so bright-eyed and ready to do this thing and excited that he wanted to add all these features that everyone would love today, like being able to switch on the fly between the console and the arcade ports and just stuff like that he wanted to make, if we're going to port this game from the 80s into the 90s, let's do this thing. Let's make it amazing. And his bosses kind of came down on him and was like, no, just port the game and do it as quick as possible, because Sega Ages was originally called Sega Ages 2500 for 2,500 yen, which is approximately $15. Like, they're just selling these games for $15. So, pretty cool interview. He said he almost ruined the project because of that, but he learned a lot and he is still excited about it all. But apparently when it was all announced, a lot of people were thinking, like, why would we want that? And I get it. In the mid to late 90s, you did not want anything from the 80s. You wanted the latest, greatest, because things were happening so fast. Everything, I think that's when like the Voodoo cards are being released and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. See, now I wish I could buy a refrigerator from the 80s.
So it doesn't have AI built into it?
It doesn't have AI, and so it does basic things like keep food cold.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. One more here. Well, we have a few more. Apparently, some people at Sega tried to release a monochrome Game Boy-like device. Not the Game Gear, but something that would last long, that was 16-bit, and would play, it'd be like Game Boy, but for like Altered Beast and stuff like that. And it kept getting stomped down by the higher-ups at Sega. And it's kind of a cool interview, kind of a little history of it. And Tiger Electronics was going to help prototype it if they didn't actually prototype it. But it's kind of serendipitous because didn't Sega have the Electronics handheld series that Tiger actually did? They were kind of like the Game & Watch kind of looking things.
Yeah, so Sega had, because I had these in the store and now I'm drawing a blank on them. They had a thing that was like the Microvision that played monochrome, like, basically Tiger LCD versions of their games.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what you're describing. That's what you and I are describing the same thing, probably.
Yeah.
What was it called? It was bright red box. Had Echo, I believe. Oh boy.
And if you Google Sega monochrome handheld, like it doesn't come up. So I see here there's like an LCD afterburner. So I think, didn't they just release like these Tiger handhelds that were Sega branded? But that's not a red box. That's like Tiger handheld, acrylic plastic looking cases.
Yeah, I could be mixing things up here. But no, this was not in like a Tiger handheld big plastic box. This was in a. Well, we can keep going, and I will eventually remember what this was called.
Yeah. And even if it's not today, you could always write in.
Yeah.
And moving on in our Sega section here, David Rosen died at the age of 95, one of the co-founders of Sega.
Yeah.
So 95 is a good run.
95 is a good run.
Yeah. I'm sure it was from old age. It wasn't like a motorcycle accident or something.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Oh, I found it. Stop. I found it. It's called the Sega Pocket Arcade.
Let me Google
And
this.
they are individual systems. It's not like a mic. The form factor messed me up. And the boxes are red, and there is Echo the Dolphin, and they were $24.99.
Oh, yeah. Wow. This almost looks like that. The form factor is almost like that. Oh, man. What was it called? Oregon Trail handheld.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Well, there's like 3 form factors. Like Echo the Dolphin is sort of like a flip phone, and Sonic the Hedgehog is like one of those pocket magnifying glasses where like you press the button and the magnifying glass pops out. And yeah, Eternal Champions is like that Oregon Trail form factor kind of. Yeah.
Now let's see.
I don't know if there's more than
eBay.
just these 3. Yeah.
So my eBay prices are in Australian, so you have to multiply by like 70%.
Yeah.
But let's see. The Virtua Cop one is $200 Australian.
Oh, geez.
Echo the Dolphin is $65. So they're kind of all over the place. There's one for $8, the Raceway one.
So I have scans of this in the electronics boutique. I heard the EB Games is closing all the stores by you or something.
No, New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand.
New Zealand. Okay, very close. But if you look Electronics Boutique, December 1994 catalog, I have a scan of these. And also on that same page is a thing I know you did not know existed. I predict you don't know about this. The Sega Pocket Organizer.
I did know about that, but I think it's because you and I talked about it before.
Okay. Yeah. All right. It seems like something we would have talked about.
Or
also
it was a
catalog,
news item where like someone emulated it or something.
Maybe something like that. Also in this catalog is the Batter Up controller, which is a baseball bat controller. A lot of good stuff. This is actually one of my favorites. It's got like the JVC XI, multiple Jaguar pages, if that's your thing. Well, maybe 1.5 Jaguar pages. And 32, this was the very short window of time when the 32X was really popular.
Nice. Well, I just Googled and it looks like a Doom does not yet play on that pocket organizer. So it wasn't in our Doom news. That might be a good experiment. That a good project. Port Doom to the Sega Pocket Organizer.
Yeah. That's a dream for me to find it like an estate sale, man. That would be so cool.
While looking on eBay for those games, I ran across this. We're going to play Guess the Price, okay?
Okay. All right.
Vintage 1995 honeycomb cereal box Sega Pocket Arcade handheld game offer on the front. So it's just a honeycomb box, flattened out, in very good condition, with a save $6 now on Sega Pocket Arcade coupon.
Okay. And the coupon is not still valid, correct?
No.
Okay. Honeycomb.
Mm-hmm.
Just regular? It's not some like special
not
flavor?
Some weird, no, not like Sonic Blue or anything.
So I'm thinking back to when Nintendo made a cereal box, or someone made a cereal box that had like an amiibo card built into the cereal box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then people bought so many of them. Like people bought them and put them on eBay. Like you go to the grocery store, they'd be sold out.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
So they just made more. And then like 6 months later, they're all like in the 25-cent section of the grocery store because they had so many left over. This could have, well, we didn't have eBay yet, so this could not have gone the same way.
Yeah, there's 1995.
I had to go $83.
Not too bad. US $99.99.
Ooh.
So, yeah. There's a lot of cereal boxes for sale. A lot. Wow. That could be a whole other section. But
yeah.
Moving on to Game Club, I did want to give a shout out to Hungry Goria, a friend of the podcast who has been on here. If you haven't heard that, please go back and listen to her interview. It was very fun. Both are Game Club games, Bubsy and Spellcaster. She either has fantastic YouTube reviews. Her reviews on YouTube are probably my favorite. So if you haven't seen any of those, they're very thoughtful, very well done. Go watch them. Her Spellcaster one I just watched. And most of her emojis or emotes or whatever you call them in Twitch are from Bubsy. So she is a fan. So shout out to Hungry. Bubsy in Claw's Encounter of the Furred Kind is the hardest thing to pronounce, all those words together.
Yeah.
But better known as Bubsy was my pick because I never really got into it. And I figured, why not? It looks fun. I've watched people stream it. But watching people stream things is very deceiving, especially when they're good at it, like they grew up with the game. So you're Bubsy, a stupid bobcat. These stupid aliens named Woolies love yarn, and they want to steal all the yarn, and Bubsy needs to stop them. So that is the plot of this game. The game is very bright and colorful, and has really nice graphics. The sprite design is fantastic. The humor is stupid. Now, granted, video game humor is very difficult to get right, but this is kind of dumb on the next level. Like I would say even Conkers or, what are other 90s games like that?
Like Gex.
Gex for sure. It gets it better than this. Yeah. Now this doesn't push it down your throat. It's hard, but, it's there. This plays like a mix between Mario and Sonic, and that feels very on purpose. The controls actually feel pretty good, but stopping, I don't feel like you stop fast enough, and you'll be moving really quickly, and all of a sudden there's an enemy standing in your way. You can't stop fast enough, so you die. Like Sonic really has, and Mario really have that skid stop. You could kind of stop on a dime. And then you barely touch an enemy and you die. The hitbox is very accurate, but it still feels a little bit off to me for some reason. It's hard to put my finger on. The one hit kill is not great. Because you are a cat, you start with 9 lives. So there's that.
So would you prefer, just as a sidebar, would you prefer if you had 3 lives and 3 hits?
Yes, because it doesn't stop the game when you die. If you get hit and you're not dying, the whole game doesn't restart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that would have actually made the game noticeably better. For every 500 yarn balls, you get an extra life. So you got to collect those. This is definitely a product of the 90s extreme in your face era. And I don't know. I know I'm getting down on this game. I do want to try it more. I tried both the Genesis and the SNES port. I own the Jaguar sequel. I don't remember playing it much or at all. So I would like to try out the sequels. Unfortunately, I did order the Bubsy collection, which should arrive here soon. So I have that to look forward to, and I will play it. I open and play all the games I buy. So I would say give this a try. You know, it is a pretty tight platformer. It's just kind of the decisions they make don't jive with me right now. I do love all the like funny faces he makes, like when you're on roller coasters and stuff like that, or you're floating around. The float mechanic's cool. So you have a jump button and a float button, and that works pretty well. I do think that is cool. It's kind of Mario World-esque. Yeah, so even though I got really down on this game, I would say try it if you haven't, especially if you love mascot platformers. What do you think about this one?
So I noted that I tried the Jaguar version, which I think you correctly noted is technically a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
What's odd about it is it looks worse than the Genesis version.
Yes.
Like I don't. It should look equal.
It sounds worse too.
Well, yeah, that's what's weird. I don't necessarily know if the music is worse. So I looked it up. It's the same composers that worked on Tempest 2000, which is a great soundtrack.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
But in Bubsy, it doesn't fit.
Oh yeah, because it's like techno-y, right?
Yeah, it's techno-y. It just doesn't fit as well as the soundtrack on the Genesis. It would probably be a good soundtrack for like a Mech Warrior game.
Yeah, yes. Or a racer, a futuristic racer.
Yes. Yeah. That's what it sounds like you're playing Wipeout.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I would rank it among the top 3 platformers on the Jaguar.
How many platformers are there?
I can think of 2. Does Pitfall count?
Yes, I'd say Pitfall counts.
Okay. And the Zool. Hold on. Rayman, Bubsy, Zool, Pitfall. I think that's all of them. And I do not like Pitfall: The Mind Adventure. So that at least propels Bubsy up to the top 3.
I think that game is fine, but I mean, not great, but I mean, Rayman would be the best out of all of those for sure, right?
Yeah. Rayman is a very good Jaguar game for sure.
So, would you like to start with Spellcaster? You probably played it more than I did. Zach's choice.
I wasn't. Yeah, of course, I had no preparation because
everyone should know we planned this minutes before recording.
Yeah. So I played Spellcaster a lot in, I guess it would be the early 90s. I got a power-based converter. I can't remember exactly. Well, there was some deal where you got the power-based converter really cheap when the Genesis was a fairly new system, and I don't remember all the specifics.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Master System games were fairly cheap around then too. It was, a second-place console, and places like KB were just, dumping the games. So I got Spellcaster. And I did play it a lot. I remember I really liked, how it was a combination of point-and-click adventure and also action.
Mm-hmm.
And the internet didn't exist, so it took a long time to get through the game. I actually never finished the game completely. Because some of the puzzles were just really kind of weird. Yeah,
for the listeners, can you describe, the game is like 2 or 3 different games in one, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's at least 2 games. Maybe I'm misremembering here. So there's a scene where you're in like a first-person point-and-click view, and there's other people, and you have a menu like talk, look, give, take.
It's like a wizardry kind of setup.
Yeah, it's probably wizardry was big in Japan, so I can imagine that's what they're going for. I was thinking of it like Shadowgate, but with fewer options, kind of.
And the graphics, the pictures they use in that are fantastic.
Fantastic, yeah, beautiful graphics. it definitely shows that the Master System could do better looking games than the NES. So it was and from talking to these people, you'd have to solve again like puzzles, but the puzzles were a little bit cryptic, and I don't know if that's due to translation issues or I think maybe they were like on a scale of 10, some of them are like a 6 difficulty, but then the translation maybe isn't quite perfect, turning out to a 7 of things you have to figure out. And then when you get to a stage, so as the story, when you get to a certain point in the story, you enter an action stage, which is a side-scrolling stage where your attacks are all magical, right? You like shoot fireballs, and you can gain different abilities. Like you get the ability to fly. As I recall, you can strengthen up your attack magic. So different like abilities you get,
which uses energy, which you accumulate over time, and so that's kind of like mana. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that part to me was really difficult. This is why I never finished the game, because I can't get through. I know I've got to the last side-scrolling stage, but I did not last very long. It is very difficult as it progresses.
That was one of my comments in my notes was I wasn't able to give this game too much time, so I was very appreciative of Hungry Coria's review as well. But I noted in here, like, I haven't died yet. Does the 2D brawling get any more difficult? It starts out very simple.
This is off topic, but the game on Sega Genesis, Mystic Defender, is technically a sequel, but it's only the side-scrolling stages. It has none of the adventure part.
Does it have like story, like Ninja Gaiden type things like that?
I don't know. I've not played it enough.
Yeah,
it's one of those games where I keep saying like I'm gonna try it, and I play for about a minute, and then I'm like, all right, it's the worst part of Spellcaster.
Yeah. For me too. So, like you, I read all day code or emails and specs and stuff, and so playing a game that makes me read like this is a bit taxing at the end of the day. As a kid, if I wanted to read, I would have read. So I think that's why this one didn't connect with me as much, even though it is a really good game. This is a good game. Yeah. It reviewed well back in the day too. It didn't have many reviews, but it reviewed pretty well. And the story is pretty in-depth. People don't talk at you as much like they do in anime or a lot of Japanese games. So it's more engaging. And the characters are kind of funny. Like there's someone who's obsessed with spaghetti, and there's something Hungry Coria does point out in her review that I connected with well. There's a scene where this one woman keeps asking you to dance, and you have like your inner monologue where you're like, I hate dancing. And then it just says, I feel trapped. And so I dance. I hate this. And I was just like, that is every wedding I've ever been at. Even though I didn't dance, but still, that's how I feel at weddings. So it really connected with me. Yeah, so that was Zach's choice. So I'm excited to hear when he's back on the podcast what he hears about that one. And
I don't think it's a bad game. I just think it's really difficult.
Yeah, the difficulty ramps up. Yeah. So what game would you like Game Club players to play next?
I can't remember what games have been discussed on this show. That's the problem. Lately, I have been playing a little bit of Destruction Derby 64. Have you played that?
Ooh, that's a good one. I own that one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would say, and if you don't have Destruction Derby 64, Destruction Derby is also on the PlayStation and Saturn. So, but Destruction Derby 64 is a little bit different than the PlayStation and Saturn versions, but I say any of them count.
Nice. Perfect. I'm going to choose a game. I'm not sure if you have played. If you have, feel free to give comments now or email. But for the Genesis, a Link to the Past like called Crusader of Centy. In the PAL regions, it's It's called Solier. I can't pronounce Solier. I can't pronounce that word.
Yeah.
Soliel.
Yes. I played this a very long time ago, and I do not remember it very well.
Well, I just completed it, and I will talk about it next episode. So if any of our listeners played Destruction Derby, 64, Saturn, PlayStation, Crusader of Centy, Spellcaster, Bubsy, pretty much any Bubsy. If you write a game with a single line of code, if you test out the shader beam thing, if you rip some TurboGrafx games, or if you have comments on anything we have said wrong, please email us. email@retrogameclub.net. That is email@retrogameclub.net. Our Discord is very active. You should get in there, or any of our socials. And we do have some email here. There was one from you, but I think, have we answered all that so far?
No, the other one is about the question of the episode about games that should have been shovelware but weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And all I mentioned there was, like, I'm sure Simpsons Arcade Game is going to be the #1 vote getter, but I would say Simpsons Hit and Run. Outside of Simpsons Arcade Game, Simpsons games were generally not good.
Mm-hmm.
But then Simpsons Hit and Run, which clearly is ripping off Grand Theft Auto 3, but they did it really, really well, and included a ton of references to, like, I'll call it the first decade of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is like #1 on my wish list of games to get a remake.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is a very fun game. It holds up today very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one I put down was Muppets Party Cruise, because, like, if you went up to someone and said, I'm going to make Mario Party but with Muppets, you would just assume it's shovelware.
Mm-hmm.
But it is as much fun as any Mario Party game.
Yeah. You had me play that game once. That is a cool game.
Yeah.
Surprisingly good. And you feel like taking Matrix's email that you did not read before this episode at all?
I did not read, so I'm going to butcher it extra hard.
Well, that's. I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Yes, yeah. I will maybe in a year I'll butcher one again. This is about game of the episode, or previous episode, Shape Shifter. He says he appreciates the comparison you made to Ninja Spirit on the different weapons, but that is degrading to Ninja Spirit. And he also liked that you went out of your way to look for the good parts of the game.
I liked it.
Which is, I did not. He said it was a game of the month over on the TurboGrafx PC Engine forum back in July. And he's copying pasting a comment from there. It says, can't say I ever played Shapeshifter before, nor did I have any interest until being game of the month. It does have a lot of voice acting, and some of the characters in the shop screens have interesting art.
Yeah.
So Alien 3 review. I don't know if it was intentional, but there was a comment about Alien 3 good in short bursts. Remember from Alien, the movie Aliens, remember short controlled bursts.
I wonder if that comment also from the movie also affected the gameplay, because you kind of have to play the game that way.
Yeah.
So that'd be really cool if that's where it came from.
And shovelware or game that should have been shovelware, but was actually good. Goonies on the NES.
Yeah, that is a good call out. But that would be a funny topic. Shovelware that should be IP.
Oh, yeah.
Make into a movie or a book or something.
So you take a shovelware game and you turn it into a movie. Like, I take
99% of all Wii games. Pick any Wii game.
Pick any Wii game. So Eminem's Beach Party.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a real game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a game. And then that becomes a movie. Eminem's Beach Party, the movie.
Yep.
Which could then get a game.
And we have thank you both, Hugh and Majors, for those emails. We have our social media questions. So the same question that Majors just answered. Gallum says Felix the Cat for NES, which, yeah, that does have no business being that good. And is that different than the one for CDI? Are those different games?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because I know one exists for both. So interesting. I'll have to look that up. Madman Inc. writes in saying Alien for the 2600. And yeah, I forgot about this. I'm glad you brought that up. It's Pac-Man levels with like an extra bonus level that's like Frogger.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting that they don't put the pebbles you pick up in the Pac-Man stages on the same scan line. And it's probably to reduce flicker, but it looks like a mistake, but it works really well. Puppysaurus Rex writes, Kim Possible, what's the Switch? I've never heard of that one, but he said it's developed by the same people that did Dead by Daylight. I'll have to look that up.
As I recall, on the Game Boy, there is a Lizzie McGuire game that's actually pretty good. It's a platformer. And
really?
they must have put the A-Team on it. There's multiple Lizzie McGuire games, but I think it's the second, maybe. I think it's number 2. And I'm like, this is actually a totally adequate platformer for the Game Boy.
Speaking of which, have you followed this news on the DS game Cory in the House? That's another, I guess that's a TV show.
It's like an internet meme, right?
Yeah, they did the stock with this meme stock thing with it, and now that game is worth a ton of money. I do not own it. I've never played it. Let's see, what else do we have here? Retro Esoteric writes in about your emulation setup, and he says he mostly does Polymega, which he believes is kind of Emu Station. And he also has Analog Duo for TurboGrafx stuff. And he says Shapeshifter, he barely played it when it came out. He would like to hit it because it's in his backlog, but the sprite, really unique sprite art and really silly voice acting. And yeah. And I would like to ask Retro Esoteric about the Polymega. I've never touched one. I've never seen one in person. How does it work? Is it laggy? Is it convenient? How's it feel? Any problems with it? Give us your review of that. I'd really like to learn more about that. I've always been fascinated with it. And I answer this question because Alien 3, the game, got me thinking of it. The shovelware, or game that should be shovelware. And I put both the DuckTales. Those games had no, right being that good. And then Scooby-Doo games. Most Scooby-Doo games are pretty good.
Yeah. There was a GameCube one. There's like 3 of them on the GameCube, and one of them is good, and the other 2 are kind of, I guess, mid, as my kids would say.
All the DS ones are really good, I think. By really good, I mean way better than you thought they would be. I'm not going to start like a Scooby-Doo game by game. Well, maybe I will. Maybe I will. I'll have to talk to Shinto about that. Let's see. Oh, and I put 007 because for Nintendo 64, because it came out like a year or 2 after the movie, right? And it just like came out of nowhere, and it was just fantastic. Like that should have been shovelware. So, yeah. And let's see what else. Oh, and we would like to say to Retro Esoteric that sorry we missed your question or your answer last time, but Zach found it and made that wrong or right. And one more answer to what's your emulation setup from Guido is Guido23. His current emulation setup is he plays mostly TurboGrafx games, which I guess this is the best podcast to listen to if you do that. And so original hardware with an EverDrive, he has an Analog Duo and a TG16 Mini. He says, I really like the software on the TG Mini, and they finally hacked it, so we'll be loading up all the games on it. And when he's traveling, he does the Analog Pocket. Guido23's answer to that question inspired the next question of the episode. Do you still play any of your classic mini consoles? If so, give some details, which ones, why, what do you like about them? Or if you just have comments on why you don't play them, I would take those too. Email at retrogameclub.net or any of our socials or Discord or wherever. And Hugh, do you have any of those things plugged in still? Your Sprint, maybe. The Sprint.
The Sprint. Yeah, the Sprint I have plugged in right now. that is hooked up right now, and I play that, once or twice a week. I usually play Thin Ice on it. That's the most I play.
Mm-hmm.
Like the NES, the problem is the Switch Online service has most of the games that I would play on like the NES Mini.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The, so I don't think, hold on. I do not have any others hooked up right now. Nope, I have nothing else hooked up right now.
Did you get any of the computer ones? Like there was like a DOS one, like a beige, desktop one and stuff like that.
No, I have like the Carmen San Diego and Oregon Trail handheld games, which is not the same thing. It's just the closest thing I have to those PC. But yeah, I kind of reconfigured stuff because I ran out of power outlets. This is a real world problem you have in a game room sometimes. Part of it is because I wanted to build I had to carve out like a charging station. I have like so many portable devices and just various things that need to be charged that I had to create a little charging station. And I have a work computer here permanently and a lot of others. So I just plain ran out of places to plug stuff in. So I have the fewest consoles and things plugged in that I probably ever have right now. Just out of necessity. So it's really like what I'm playing the most of right now.
Which is the Sprint.
It's Sprint. It's Analog 3D are the two I'm playing the most right now.
Oh, I didn't realize you picked that up. What do you think of it?
I like it. Yeah, I probably should have mentioned it at the beginning. That's what I was playing Destruction Derby 64 on, and it plays really great. Haven't found a game that doesn't work yet. Has lots of video display modes, so if you can, kind of tweak it for what looks best for a particular game. Like Destruction Derby 64, I don't play that on the same mode that I would play Ocarina of Time.
Okay,
they just kind of look. The settings, you play around with the settings. One looks better than the other. Played through Paperboy 64 on it because
I never
finished the Paperboy 64. Yeah, I mean it's not that long of a game.
Okay, I haven't played that since the 90s.
Game. Yeah, I mean if you want like 100% the game, I guess it takes forever, but it's a fairly short game. The boss fights are kind of aggravating. But the game itself is fun.
What kind of bosses are there in this game?
Yeah, there's boss fights in Paperboy 64. Like, there's like a mad scientist level, and you're fighting like his Frankenstein creation.
Oh God, this is gonna have to be a Game Club game soon.
Yeah, Paperboy 64 is the controls are like the throwing controls are a little weird when you first play it. So once you get past like the controls, it's pretty easy. Like it's not like the original Paperboy is like Bubsy. It's a one-hit kill, right? And here you have some kind of a life meter. Paperboy is not like indestructible, but it's pretty hard to die in Paperboy 64. It's pretty easy to not complete because each level there's like a set of challenges. So like first time. So the way it works is like there's a set of stages and you get the first stage and it's, I don't know, the trailer park, let's say. And you have to get 8 houses to get enough points to open up the second stage. And then like to open up the third stage, you have to get, 30 houses between the two stages, however that works. And every time you clear a stage, like in the original Paperboy, you get more subscribers. And eventually, if you want 100% the game, you would clear to where the entire neighborhood is subscribers.
Yeah.
And then once you're in enough points, you get in a boss battle. And so like, there's like a, Spooky Town level and you fight the mad scientist and, you don't defeat the monster by throwing newspapers at the monster. You have to, destroy the power supply to the lab kind of thing with newspapers.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's like hidden stuff on the levels. I'm describing the first set of levels, so I'm not like spoiling the whole plot of Paperboy 64. This is just the first set of levels. And then there's like hidden stuff. You can like you hit certain items and you get like a star or whatever, and something good happens maybe if you get all the. I never came close to completing it because it's again, if you just want to play through all the stages, it's not very long. If you want to try and do everything, then it's, a longer game, I guess.
Interesting. That'll definitely be a game club game sometime.
Yeah. It's a silly game. Like I'm not going to argue it's like, a triple A awesome game. It's just one of these games that is just silly and fun.
Yeah. The 64 era was strange.
Yeah, and I bought the 64 late, and I have a decent backlog, and I don't know, I was just kind of in the mood for games of that era.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have, I still haven't played like Shadows of the Empire, which I have.
It's a great game.
Right?
Very good. Well, the first half of it's at least very good.
I'm sure I would like it. I just never played it. And like I played through Doom 64 on the Switch or maybe PlayStation 4. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to go back and try the original. And with the new display modes, I might actually be able to play it.
Yeah. Do they have a mode of make this 50% brighter?
They have a mode where I think you can do that on there. I mean, it's not explicitly that.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's some way you can also overclock the CPU. Well, make it do virtual overclock.
Mm-hmm.
So games that like have lag or slow down play, however many, if it's supposed to go 30 frames per second, it's always 30 frames per second. There's no slowdown.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on that. It's pretty interesting what they came up with, and it works really well. It doesn't ruin any games really.
So yeah, I like the system. And no, I was not irritated that after I bought it, I could have bought it in green or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
That's how I am too. But it was almost the principle of it. I think a lot of people were upset about.
Yeah, I understand. I don't like that. I don't think that's a good strategy on their part. But whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me at all. Yeah, if our listeners play Crusader of Centy on the Genesis, and it is on Switch Online, by the way, or Destruction Derby 64 or PlayStation or whatever, please write in your little review what you think. And Hugh, thanks for coming back and subbing in.
Yeah, and I will talk to you again in a year.